I'm in a different location today, which is really my bedroom, because today I'm talking about how I keep my raphidaphora tetrasperma happy and healthy. And this plant is a permanent fixture of this bedroom, really this wall. So for the two of us to be in the same video, I had to move locations today. Hello, my name is Palisa. Welcome to Plants and Things, which are plants and things. Now, before I get into the actual plant care, I do want to reiterate something that I've said many times before on this channel, which is that the best thing you can do for your plant is to use your God-given curiosity. Be curious about the plant. If I or anyone else recommends something that your plant absolutely hates, stop doing it. But if you've been doing something that your plant absolutely loves and somebody says, actually, that's the wrong way to take care of the plant, keep doing it. It's your plant growing in your environment, and ultimately you're the one who's going to keep it alive. Now, the four basic things about plant care are lighting, watering, fertilizing, and humidity. And that last one is grammatically incorrect in that sentence, but I didn't know how else to phrase it, so I'm just going to keep going with that. And today I've decided to also talk about propagation, because this plant is notoriously difficult to propagate. And I have some thoughts and words, having gone through the process, having lost some propagation babies. So I am going to be adding that today as well. With regards to lighting, this plant loves bright, direct light. This wall gets some direct light. And by that, I mean that light creeps in the afternoon and then like barely touches this plant. And again, today is a cloudy day, so there's no light touching this plant, but it barely touches this plant. But it does get, like, this room gets super, super bright from the sunlight. So it is getting a lot of bright light. And one of the ways to see that your plant is not getting enough light is if its leaves stay small or become small, then you know that your plant isn't getting enough sunlight. But there also is the precaution about the fact that obviously in winter the plant will not be getting as much sunlight as it gets in the spring and summertime. So don't freak out. Don't freak out in winter. But if that's happening in spring or summer where the plant used to have big leaves and it's now having smaller leaves, then that is kind of a problem. And that's something that's happening with my plant now, where I think it might though be the winter leaves, but the leaves have gone a bit smaller, not like drastically small and gone to the immature form, but they are smaller than some of the like big gorgeous leaves that I used to have, which I will show you guys obviously. And so I'm not as concerned because the plant is still healthy, the leaves are still good, they still have fenestrations. But if your plant does go into immature mode or immature leaf mode, why am I saying mode? If your plant leaves go back to their immature form, then that's a problem where the plant is not getting enough sunlight. With regards to watering, my general watering method these days is that I water the plant and fill the catch pot. This is how I water my plants. This plant hates that. It hates sitting in water. It hates sitting in water. And I learned this when I had a baby plant. One of my propagations suddenly died from the roots rotted and then the stem rotted. And that's when I realized that this plant hates being perpetually wet. So the way to take care of this plant and water it, and this is a method that I have to apply specifically to this plant, is that thoroughly water it when it is dry, and only when it is dry. Not because you are bored and need something to do, which is not a place or state that I go into now. But previously, I used to have moments of boredom where I would just want to water my plants. But that is a no-no with this plant. Do not overwater it. Do not let it sit in water. Simply thoroughly water when it is dry. And the plant will just keep pushing leaves and chugging along and be happy. And one of the things that I love about this plant is if you slightly underwater it, it doesn't go to shock. It doesn't do the crisping leaves as some plants be doing in this home. And it's really so annoying when they do that. Am I underwatering them? Yes, but I would like them to be a bit more hardy. But that is beside the point. So this plant does not do that. In my video about the plants, like recommending plants based on watering style, I did say that this plant is very good for underwaterers, but terrible for overwaterers, because this plant doesn't mind being underwatered, but it hates being overwatered. So water thoroughly when dry and then let it dry out. Thirdly is the fertilization. Now, I've said this before that I fertilize my plants absolutely the same. That is the pothos plant, the succulents, the bougainvilleas, which I absolutely, absolutely love. And I only have one, so I don't know why I'm saying the bougainvilleas, my syngoniums. I fertilize my plants the same way, which is to fertilize them with the fertilizer diluted in the water, a balanced fertilizer, every week or every second week, depending just on vibes. And the plants are doing really well. They don't mind it. Might there be a better way of fertilizing this particular plant? Possibly, probably. But since my plant doesn't mind, I'm going to keep doing that. Fourth is humidity. Now, I've had plants for 3 to 4 years. I've never taken the leap to get a humidifier. So the only plants in my household that are getting extra humidity are the plants that are growing in my propagation boxes. Every other plant in this home is getting normal room humidity, which is about 20 to 30 degrees. But I guess maybe the plants growing in the bathroom get a bit more humidity, but I don't think it's like so much more than normal. And this plant has been growing really, really well under those conditions. And you can see by the fact that, again, no crisping leaves. The leaves are really large. Yeah, we've had a slight decrease, but generally they've been really large. And if I had to reason it out, I don't think, based on the whole thing with the watering and it hating to be like perpetually moist, I wonder whether it would actually enjoy more humidity. Of course, this is not a thing that I've tested. The sun is coming out now, which is great. So yeah, I keep my plants in like normal room humidity, and this plant has been fine. And now to the propagation. So when I first got this plant, I think it was at the time, I wouldn't say it was super rare anymore, but it was still quite a pricey plant. And I wanted to make cuttings for my mom. Love that lady. And so I decided to chop the plant. I had one vine. And I think I also wanted to fill it up because I thought maybe, why not fill it up? So I took some cuttings, I cut the plant up. I tried to propagate it in sphagnum moss, and it took so long to root. And as I'm thinking about this though, I wonder whether, yet again, I tried to do that in the winter. I wonder whether I tried to do it in the winter. But even if I did, it took so long to root. It must have taken months. Like, even if I'd done it in winter, it went into the spring and summer. So I'm like, that it took so long to root. And there was one particular one that would grow leaves, but it was refusing to grow roots. I put in my, it just was, and it's also the one where, okay, finally it had grown roots, and finally it was a little plantlet, and it was doing super well, and then its roots decided to rot, and I was like, you're done. So this plant is really, really difficult to propagate, but I think it's still a plant worth propagating, just so you can have a fuller plant, which is something that I am thinking of doing, because I only have 2 plants in this pot, and I would like this plant to actually go around the room more, which, yeah, is a bit crazy, and I wonder whether I'll find it annoying after I do it, but actually it's a thing that I want to do. So I'm going to be propagating this plant again soon, but I just also know that it's going to be a job. It's going to be a job. You know how propagating pothos is just a simple job. I don't even think I've ever not had a success propagation from a pothos, but with this guy it is touch and go. But maybe it's a monstera thing, because even when I was propagating my monstera albo, I lost 2 of the 4 propagations. So, but that's also, I guess, what we do when we're propagating. It could be, could not be, the Lord will decide. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you gained a thing or two to help you take better care of your raphidaphora tetrasperma. This sunlight is in my eyes. That is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were able to gain a thing or two to help you take better care of your raphidaphora tetrasperma. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you next time. Bye.